Analogy is the Delaware of cognition. I come across this expression in this public lecture, Analogy as the Core of Cognition by Douglas Hofstadter. This URL. Roughly 15 to 20 minutes into the video. When Doug made this humorous remark, laughters erupted in the room. I do not quite get the joke though. Could anyone explain the significance of Delaware here? Edit. The video in the link above is gone. The video of the talk is now available on YouTube. The phrase analogy is the Delaware of cognition is used shortly after this point of presentation. It is the actual beginning of Douglas Hofstadter's talk. Prior to this point it is all introduction and chat.
It is hard to say for sure, but a stereotype you hear about Delaware is that it is the lower, slower state. The notion is that the southern part of the state is very rural and therefore the inhabitants are old, unsophisticated, slow-moving, etc. I think Douglas Hofstadter is attempting to make the point about analogy, ironically using analogy, that it is very primitive or simplistic by comparison with the process of cognition. The lecture was delivered at Stanford, in Connecticut, which is quite close to Delaware, and it is likely that the audience would be well aware of the Delaware stereotype, thus accounting for their reaction.
Delaware was the first state to ratify the US Constitution, so analogy is the first state of cognition. Edit to add a bit more info. Delaware as a whole is quite proud of this fact, and the first state is one of its official mottos. As an East Coaster, this tidbit sprang immediately to mind for me.
I am translating into Italian Surfaces and Essences, which contains that sentence, together with a friend of mine. Since we were not sure about its meaning, my friend asked Hofstadter. His answer was, asterisk, I use Delaware because it is a peripheral state, with an identity of its own, but left on the fringes. However, in the French edition of the book, Hofstadter and Sanders settled down for Finisteri to mean a far, far away place. Of course this does not explain the burst of laughter, smiley face. Asterisk, my friend reported Hofstadter's answer in Italian. Actually, it may even be that he answered in Italian.